The first time Daniel heard her laugh that way, it cut through him like a blade. Not the warm laugh he'd fallen in love with, the one that used to brighten even his darkest hours, but sharp, dismissive, laced with contempt. And the worst part? She wasn't alone when she said it. I mean, Daniel tries. Rachel's voice drifted from the other room, followed by another laugh. But let's be real. He'll never be the kind of man who actually gets what he wants. Not really. He's too cautious. Too dull. Daniel froze, coffee mug hovering midair. He'd only stepped out of his office to grab a drink, but now he stood rooted in the kitchen, pulse hammering in his ears, listening to his wife belittle him to someone else. The reply was male, smooth, assured. Then why stay, Rachel? Why not just leave? Her answer came with a low, cruel laugh. Because he doesn't see it. He'll never walk away. Daniel's the type who clings even as the ship goes down. The words echoed long after the conversation faded into muffled tones. His hand shook, coffee spilling across his knuckles, but he didn't feel the sting. That night, Rachel slid into bed beside him, her smile tender, her kiss soft. She asked about his day, laughed at his dry humor, even rested her hand on his chest like she once had. If he hadn't overheard her earlier, he might have believed everything was fine. But now he was watching. The way she angled her phone away when messages came through. The faint trace of cologne that wasn't as in her hair. The distant glaze in her eyes whenever he spoke about his cases. Each detail stacked against her. Every clipped answer, every distracted grin. Every, just a friend, defense weighed heavier on his chest. And still, he didn't confront her. Not immediately. Daniel wasn't impulsive. Years in corporate law had taught him restraint. The value of waiting, of gathering proof before moving. And deep inside, a sliver of him still prayed he was wrong. That maybe she was restless, exhausted, that the cutting words he'd heard were nothing but thoughtless slips. But at night, when she thought he was asleep, she whispered into her phone, "I wish I was with you. Don't worry, he's out cold." Each whisper unraveled another thread of their marriage. The breaking point came during a dinner with friends. Rachel, as always, played the entertainer, leaning forward to retell Daniel's failed attempt at fixing the sink. She exaggerated every detail, turning his frustration into comedy. And then, she said, eyes sparkling with mischief, he actually Googled how to fix a faucet while water sprayed everywhere. My serious, big-shot lawyer husband, defeated by a leaky pipe. The table roared with laughter. Daniel forced a smile, but inside, something snapped. He noticed the way her eyes lingered on the man beside her, the same smooth voice he'd overheard weeks earlier, the way her hand brushed his arm a fraction too long after the laughter faded. That was when Daniel remembered the clause. Years back, when they drafted their prenup, Rachel had rolled her eyes, impatient as Daniel painstakingly walked her through each section. She'd signed with little thought, brushing it off as another one of his tedious lawyer habits. But Daniel remembered every line, especially the fidelity clause. If she was unfaithful, everything reverted to him. The house, the assets, the investments, all of it. She had agreed easily then, swearing she could never betray him. Now, her ridicule had awakened something cold, calculating. In the weeks that followed, Daniel stayed silent but not idle. He hired a discreet investigator. Phone records, photos, messages. Piece by piece, the truth came together while Rachel suspected nothing. Each night, he lay beside her, eyes fixed on the ceiling, torn between rage and grief. He remembered their wedding day, her trembling hands sliding the ring onto his finger, their late-night talks about dreams, about starting a family, their whispered vows in the dark. But then, the memory of her cruel laughter resurfaced. He'll never leave. He's too boring. That thought hardened him. When the investigator finally handed him the evidence, photos of Rachel in another man's arms, Daniel didn't cry. He didn't yell. He simply nodded, slid the envelope into his desk drawer, and knew what he had to do. It was a Saturday morning when he sat across from Rachel at the kitchen table, the same one where he had once pictured children eating breakfast. She sipped her coffee absent-mindedly, scrolling her phone. unaware of the way he studied her. "Rachel," he said, voice even. She looked up, startled by his tone. "I heard what you said about me. About us. Weeks ago." He let the words linger. "And I know about him." Her face went pale. "Daniel, He raised a hand. "Don't. Just don't." She tried again, voice shaking. "It didn't mean anything. Daniel leaned closer, his eyes colder than she'd ever seen. "It meant enough. Enough to humiliate me. Enough to betray me. Enough to destroy what we built." Her lips parted, but no words followed. "That prenup you laughed at?" he said evenly. "I'm invoking the clause." The silence between them was suffocating. Rachel's hands trembled as she set her cup down. "Daniel, please. We can fix this." For the first time in weeks, Daniel allowed a bitter smile. "No, Rachel. You broke it, and I'm not the one clinging to a sinking ship anymore." When he rose from the table, her wide eyes followed him, shocked, maybe even afraid. His chest ached with emptiness, grief clawing at him, but underneath, he felt something he hadn't in months: control. As he walked out the door, he realized their marriage hadn't ended that morning. It had ended long before. Ended in whispers meant for someone else, in laughter that excluded him, in a touch she gave another man. The clause wasn't about vengeance. It was closure. And as the door shut behind him, Daniel understood. While Rachel mocked him for being too cautious, it was his caution, his quiet, patient vigilance, that gave him the strength to finally let her go.